Hello again and welcome to Bicycle Maintenance with a Fairly Average Mechanic, the fairly average mechanic being me. Now, a couple of days ago I did a video about fitting tubeless tyres, and you can find that video on my channel if you have a look. It was just, as I say, a couple of days ago. But I thought I really needed to do an addendum or a little addition to that video because I spoke about something which I didn't really explain. Now, here we have a wheel. Yeah, here we have a wheel, as you can see. And as it happens, this isn't a tubeless tyre. So I want you to imagine that this is a tubeless tyre. For the purposes of this video, it doesn't actually matter whether it is or whether it isn't. So just ignore that. Here is a wheel with a tubeless tyre on it. And what happens if you have a puncture with a tubeless tyre? Well, what happens if you have a fairly small puncture is that the sealant, which you saw me put into the tyre through the valve, the sealant then sprays out, and as more of it comes out, it fills the hole and it blocks the hole. So you get this spray of sealant, you get a kind of hiss of the air coming out. If you're lucky and it works as it should do, and in my experience it generally does work as it should do, then in maybe 5 or 10 seconds or so, that puncture is sealed. You need to stop, you need to check your tyre. Sometimes you need to add some air to your tyre, and sometimes you don't. It depends on the puncture and how big it is and so on and so forth. But generally you don't. If you do have to add some air to your tyre, you should make sure that you use a pump. Don't use a CO2 gas canister like this is, which you would use for a normal puncture in a tube. And the reason for that is that the CO2 gas in these cylinders does something, degrades, affects the sealant that is still in your tyre. So carry a pump, pump it up with the pump. Now, sometimes the hole that you get in your tyre is too big and the sealant just doesn't fill it. Now, you have two choices in that situation. One is that you carry a spare inner tube, you remove your tyre in the normal way and you put on an inner tube as you would do if it was a normal wheel with a normal clincher tyre. So that will work. The other thing that you can do, and I want to say that I carry this particular kit, I've not yet had to use it, so I can't give you first-hand evidence of it working or not working. I do have friends who have used it and they do say that it does work. So I need to say that first of all. And it is this thing here. Now it's quite small, so I'll try and let you see it. The first thing is you have this small tool. Now it's a bit like a crochet tool. You may not be able to see this, but on the end of this tool, this big needle, if you like, this is like a big needle but with a gap at the top as opposed to the slit going through. So the slit goes all the way through this particular tool. And these things here, again, they're fairly small, so I'm not quite sure how well you can see them. These are known as anchovies or bacon strips because they look like anchovies or bacon strips, I suppose. And the way you use them is they're kind of stuck to this plastic, so I wonder how useful this would be in the field. But anyway, the way it works is that you remove one of these anchovies or bacon strips from this packet and you put it in the slot like that, so it's either side of there, and you push that into the hole in your tyre like that. And when you pull out your tool, your crochet tool, the bacon strip or the anchovy blocks the hole. That's the theory, and as I've said, my friends have used it and they have told me that it works. Now, this was a cheap cheat kit which I think I got from Amazon, and as you can see, perhaps because it's been squashed in my saddle bag, or perhaps for some other reason, the anchovies seem to have rather stuck to the plastic, so I'm not quite sure if in the real world that would work. So I did buy a rather more expensive version, which is this one, which is made by Lesign. It's rather nice. It's rather nice capsule, isn't it? You could keep, I suppose you could keep your cocaine in there if you were a cocaine user. Of course, you should not be taking cocaine. And in the light of President Trump's comments, can I just say that cocaine, to the best of my knowledge, does not cure coronavirus. Do not give cocaine to your children. So please ignore that. Now, in this, I unscrew the top of this rather nice capsule, and you can see here a similar tool with the kind of two sharp forks at the end there. And in this packet, I have the similar type of bacon strips or anchovies. These are black. Do you get black anchovies? Not sure you do. Not sure you get black bacon either. Anyway, this is some kind of rubbery compound. Can you see there again? It's rather stuck to the plastic. But what I would do is remove one of these black anchovies, stick it in the gap in the tool, and jam it into the tyre, pull it out, and the black anchovy would remain in the tyre. It would almost certainly be necessary to pump up the tyre. Again, don't use a CO2 canister, use a pump, and that should seal the hole and you should be able to get home safely. And you may think, well, these kind of bits of rubber surely are going to stick out. Yes, apparently they do, but as you ride along, they get squashed on the wheel and they don't affect the ride quality. As I say, again, not used it myself, but I have friends who've used it and they tell me that it works. So I carry this rather pleasing capsule. My capsule, incidentally, is filled with cocaine when I go out for a ride. Joke. My capsule is not filled with cocaine. I put other substances in the... No, I don't. Get off this substance abuse tack, Julian. By the way, you cannot use these bacon strips or actual bacon strips or actual anchovies, black or brown, to cure coronavirus. So in the light of President Trump's advice that you can inject yourself with disinfectant and thereby cure coronavirus, do not use these bacon strips for that purpose. They will not work. But they will work, so I'm told, in repairing the puncture in your tubeless tyre. So, hope you found that useful, and stick around for the next bicycle maintenance with a fairly average mechanic, i.e. me, Julian. Hope you enjoy these videos. Hope you're enjoying, well, enjoying is perhaps not quite the right word. Hope you're getting through lockdown and the coronavirus epidemic without too much impact on yourself or your family. And stick around and see you next time.